welcome to everyone who is tuning into this video. I am delighted to have with me Dr. Frank Simon. Hello, Frank.
Hi, Debbie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. Frank, thank you for your time. I'm sure the audience is going to enjoy this session. We're going to talk about the ISTQB security testing curriculum. Frank, you are the chair of the working group for security testing within ISTQB. And I know you and the team have been very, very busy recently with the new syllabi, which was released just a little while ago. What was the date? I can't remember now.
I guess February, mid of February.
Mid of February.
And we are very proud that this was published.
It's a good step forward, I think.
Yeah.
We know there are lots of questions. You know, we keep an eye out on what the community are saying to us. And today we have an opportunity to look at some of those FAQs and perhaps to answer some of the questions which people may have thought of but not yet asked. So should we get straight into it, Frank?
Yes, more than happy. Thanks, Debbie.
So let's start with, why did ISTQB decide to split the security testing syllabus into two separate certifications?
So this is the underlying motivation for all the work. So if you look at the former syllabus, it has a lot of learning objectives, maybe even too many learning objectives. But that's one really a very important mitigation problem. The second one is that it mixes different roles. So we are talking about some tasks that are really need a very technical background to do security tests. And on the other hand, we are talking about some difficult activities that are more related with managing security test activities, how to handle the test report. So that's very strange that this material is put into one syllabus. And the third motivation was that the content from the former security syllabus stemmed from 2014. And to be honest, it needs an update. And this was the reason. So these three topics motivated us to separate the one big security syllabus into two smaller ones.
Thank you for that. Thank you. How does the CT-STE, so let's get the lots of acronyms here. So let's sort out some of these acronyms to start with. So, you know, acronyms are us. So Frank, the thing you didn't say in the introduction is that you're from the GTB. So you know, we've got the acronym there.
German testing board.
Yeah, so, and we're part of the ISTQB. So let's get into the acronyms associated with certification now. So we've actually now got the Certified Tester Security Test Engineer syllabus released. The previous certification was the Certified Tester Security Tester, wasn't it?
Yes, right.
Yeah,
So this was the overall discipline. And what we now did, like I've said, so the former one mixed different rules. And now we are focusing on the one who's really doing the security test. So if you talk about the CTE, it's the Certified Security Test Engineer. That's the guy who's really doing the security test. And this is what we are focusing with the current new syllabus. It's really focusing on those guys who want to do security testing. And this needs a lot of technical background. It has to do with some very sophisticated attitudes of hackers and so on. So this is the first step of the division.
So tell us a little bit more about how they actually differ. How does the CT-STE, the new syllabus, differ from the previous CT-SEC?
Yeah, so to make the overall story a little bit complicated, so the former security syllabus will be divided into two syllabi, and the one is the security test engineer. So we just extracted all the material from the former one that is really focusing how to do security testing. And the second syllabus, which we are working on just right now, is extracting all the material that focusing on managing security tests. So define working packages for the security tester, how to communicate test results to the different stakeholders and so on. So we took the older one, split it, and made two of them. And the first one is just right now went live. This is the security test engineer.
And the other one?
The other one will be the security test analyst. That's the one who decides when to do security testing, they will decide for which components or software systems security tests make sense. They decide how to treat the security test results. They will support the managing the security aspects. So this is the security test analyst, and we hope to go live with this second syllabus in 2026.
Perfect. So how does the new CT-STE, so CT-STE,
Yes.
how does the new CT-STE fit into the broader ISTQB certification framework?
Yeah. So as you know, and that's typical for ISTQB, quality is a holistic view on systems. So it's not only about functionality. We have a lot of great trainings for functionality. Nevertheless, we have, for example, usability as well. So we have usability trainings, and what we are just right now working on is security. Security is another quality characteristics, and ISTQB is trying to make a high coverage for all quality characteristics. And we are just right now doing is focusing on the security aspects. And as you know, security is getting more and more important every day. You read in the newspaper, there's a company again hacked, and if you're hacked, in most cases, you're simply dead. So security is so important, and the attack vectors are increasing all of the time. And that's the reason why ISTQB said, we have to make sure that security is understood. We have to make sure that it's tested. And maybe just to give you a little bit background information, most of the people will say, why did you create this? There are so many penetration tests trainings available. So penetration test is only, and that's typical for ISTQB, penetration test is only a very focused testing activity. So for penetration test, you have to have a running system. And if you know ISTQB believes in shift left. Yes. So if the system is already there, if it's running, and you are starting a penetration testing and you get a result, what will be done? Yeah. So you see, I have implemented the system for months, maybe years, and at the end, the penetration test, hey, that's really not secure. And that's what's part of our syllabus, shift left. Security test has to work with security requirements. Security testing has to be integrated into the development process. And that's what, to me, this is the ISTQB understanding. So security as well as usability, as well as functionality, has to be an ongoing task from the very beginning to the operating. And that's ISTQB. Sorry for the long answer, Debbie.
No, it's good. It's good. Thank you. I think, we've covered some of the background for the new certification and some of the context, which is great. Let's move into some of the actual content. So what are the key topics covered in the new CT-STE syllabus?
CT-STE. You should do the training, Debbie. I will invite you. Yeah. Okay. So, of course, we are starting with an overall overview. What is security? So the CIA triage is explained. We give an overview about different security testing techniques, and the penetration testing is only one small subset. That's important to understand. We give an integration. We explain the integration of security testing activities into the development processes. That's what I've explained with shift left. We give an overview about relevant standards that are relevant for security tests. Yes. So if you are working for a company, usually, especially if the company has a lot of regulations, you have to fulfill a lot of regulation for security testing. This is explained because that's important for the one who's really doing the security tests. We explain how the coupling between security tests and the information security management system is established. So usually information security management is a very important area or discipline in companies, and the security tests are adding additional information into this ISMS. And at the end, of course, we give an overview about available tools. That most of the tools are open source, and we explain how to use them and how to select them. So this is the most important topic which needs some updates, because the former one, like I've explained, stemmed from 2015. And to be honest, a lot of tools changed from 2015 to today.
You've already mentioned about security regulations, but if we can just kind of revisit that a little bit. So many industries have predefined security regulations. How does CT-STE remain relevant across different domains?
So very good point. We didn't mention all domain-specific regulations. This doesn't make sense because this could be a separate training. However, we explained some very generic regulations, and they are valid worldwide. And we explained how to integrate some specific regulations into the definition of security testing. So we know that Germany has a lot of really fancy regulations, but we didn't mention them in this syllabus. This is part of the training provider. He will hopefully add some German-specific regulations, and if the same training is done in US, we explain how to integrate US-based standards into the training. So the important thing is the syllabus is the same. The way how standards are integrated in the security testing, this is explained. This means that this syllabus is relevant for all domains, for automotive, for avionic, and for all different disciplines.
Frank, just something I will clarify with you there, because obviously we're talking about certification here, which typically means that there's an exam where we have specific content related to the US or Germany, whatever. I'm assuming that won't necessarily be examined, and the exam.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Yeah, good point.
Yes.
Yeah. So the learning objective, I mean, that's typical for ISTQB as well. The learning objectives are determining the questions. Yeah. So if the trainings provider gives some additional information, for example, some Netherlands specific, just to name another country, yeah, that's important for the tester, but that's not part of the questions. So the questions will focus how to integrate norms and standards into the security testing, but the specific how to do this is part of the training.
Thank you. So we hear a lot about DevOps at the moment, and I know one of the questions being asked is, how does the certification help testers integrate security into DevOps environments?
Yeah, so what does it mean to focus on DevOps? DevOps means that the developer has to have an understanding. What does it mean to operate the system? So it's not the way I'm developing it and, hey, Debbie, please operate it. That's not the way how it should be done. The developer should have an understanding about some specifics. And that's what we are doing as well. So if the operating of a system needs some, for example, some monitoring. So your system, if it is running, should give you some really good insights into the system. For example, if you are entering again and again an incorrect password, you would expect that this is locked somewhere. So this has to be part of the development stage. So DevOps again. So developer has to understand that for the later operation, there must be something implemented. It must be available to monitor. We expect that some single sign-on mechanisms are in place, and so on. So it's pretty much the same like for other disciplines. If it's not covered in the development, it's too late in the operating. And so DevOps brings it together. That's again shift left. The developer has to have a good understanding about security, and he has to understand what does it mean to operate an IT system in a secure manner.
Frank, a quick question to you. What is the target audience for the CT-STE certification?
Everybody who wants to make a lot of money out of his job. No. Just kidding. So, but nevertheless, so security is really a very, very high price area. Now, to repeat something that I explained, just imagine that you have the perfect application. So, based on the typical functional testing, this is the best application ever seen on this planet. That's without any value if it's not secure. And that's what you can read all over the time. So who is the audience? Everybody who feels responsible for an application. Everybody who wants to make sure that an application, if it's running, if it should not be an open door for all the bad hackers in this world. So this is the audience. And in specific for the security, for the CT security test engineer, he will do it. He will test the application. He will make sure that the developer is integrating security mechanisms. He has to establish security best practices in development. So the typical audience has some technical background. This is not a 100% management discipline. So if you don't know about if you don't know about internet, if you don't know about some protocols, this could be challenging. And usually I would assume that for typical managers, the second syllabus, which will appear next year, is more important, because this guy will say, I need security tests for this component because this is open to all users. This is more that. But for this security, for the security test engineer, it's really focusing those guys who want to do the security tests.
Frank, we touched on penetration testing certifications earlier. I guess one of the questions that people would ask is, there are a lot of other security certifications out there, whether it be IC squared, CISSP, or GX SAN Institute certifications. What is the advantage of this certification?
So this is, it's based on the understanding of ISTQB that testing is fundamental. So the CISP or all others, they are not focusing on testing. For example, here I've seen a lot of, and I'm hiring a lot of penetration tests. Just a good story behind that. Yeah. So I received a test report from penetration testers, and the only thing I received was a list of findings. I said, that's great. Thanks for the findings, but could you please make sure that I know all test cases that were successfully? And this is ISTQB understanding, and this was completely new to the penetration tester. He said they came from OWASP, that's a well-known community. Said, you are interested in findings. Yes, I'm interested in findings, but I'm interested in the number of test cases as well. Yeah, and this is ISTQB understanding, to my point of view. So I really like to bring all the ISTQB knowledge to the very specific area of security. And I believe that this is really a win-win situation.
Yes, I can see value there. You touched on a little bit about the prerequisite knowledge for this certification. What are the actual specified prerequisites?
So you should have, it's not should, you must have the foundation level. If you don't know our overall security and our overall testing process, you have to do that. If you don't know what is the test environment, if you don't know what is the test case and all these specific, you have to know that. Yeah. So the good advice is you have to have the foundation level. And something that could help you is, like I've already explained, you could or should have some technical background. Yeah, at least you should be interested in that. Yeah, so this could be maybe trained by the trainer. You should have some interests in technique. So maybe the technical tester could be something. This is pretty similar. Yeah? If you like to do the technical test train, this is the wonderful follow-up training. Yeah? So just please use it. But even without having the technical test, you could and should use the security test engineer. The foundation is mandatory.
We have already said we've got this certification. So we've got two parts to that. We've got the study, which could be accredited training, or of course self-study. There's a syllabus available and also sample exam available. Could you give a little bit of advice to any candidate who want to pass the exam successfully?
So if you only want to pass the exam, that's not my approach. Yeah, so and I'm not a fan of just doing the certificate. Yeah, so if you can, I'm pretty sure you can learn the syllabus, you can read it. I'm a fan of having the trainings, because this is what really brings me the added value. The syllabus defines the content, defines, please talk about that. And if I'm a trainer, if I'm a member of a training, I can discuss this. I can do some small proof of concept. So I really my advice would be, please visit the training, discuss it, try it, learn it, do it. Yeah, and this is the syllabus, is the fundament. It defines where's the content, and the certificate at the end. That's just to demonstrate you know it and you have discussed it, and you have to learn from other colleagues that were your members in the training about their thinking, and that's my point of view. So I'm not a fan of only doing the certificate, but that's only my personal view.
I think one of the comments I would make is that the ISTQB syllabi are detailed, and they include a lot of very granular knowledge information. And when it comes to training, we always say, by the way, think about accredited training. It's important because we know that it's been assessed for alignment with the actual syllabus.
So the syllabus, sorry for interrupting you, our syllabus has more than 100 pages. So I'm totally with you. It's a lot of material. But you can read it, you can download it. That's ISTQB. And my advice would take this content, look for a good trainer in your region, and then both do the train and do the certificate.
So we've already we've talked about the split. So CT-STE version 2016 is now being split into two parts. So we've got the exciting news that the security test analyst will be released sometime in next year. Can you tell us a little bit about the release process and some of the expected, maybe the go live date for that?
So internally spoken, you know that the ISTQB has two major review steps. So they are usually named as alpha review and beta review. In April, in 4 weeks, we start with the alpha review. So this is the official first important review. So all the member boards are invited to review our new security test analyst review. Of course, we will receive a lot of feedback, and this is always a win-win situation because we learn so many additional things from different boards. Then we will incorporate all the changes, and our current plan says that in beginning of 2026, we will do the so-called beta review. So the beta review has a broader audience, and this is already something like pre-final. And we will incorporate the changes again, hopefully in the third quarter of 26. This second syllabus will go live as well. And the important thing is that in addition to that, this is the point in time where the former security syllabus will be killed. So just right now, you can do the former security examination because this is 100% plus. And now we started the division, so you can focus on the security test engineer. And if both syllabi are available, we will just make the former security obsolete.
Okay. So in ISTQB speak, we usually talk about the sunset date. So
yes, sunset date.
Moment, it sounds so wonderful, doesn't it? So currently for the CT-STE 2016, there is no sunset date set. And I know it's something that we're being asked about, but that sunset date will be set when the next module is launched. Frank, something that we are being asked about also is grandfathering. So if I have the CT-STE, am I automatically grandfathered into the new CT-STE?
No. So that's a very easy task because we have looked at both the former syllabus and the new syllabus. So from a theoretical point, if I explain to you that this is just in separation, but it's more. We really made a lot of deep dives, so we explained a lot of more for the security test engineer. It really contains much more content only for doing security tests. So this was the reason why we decided, no, there's no grandfathering at all. So if you have already the former certificate, congratulations, but you're more than invited to do the new security test engineer syllabus as well. I mean, just remember, the former syllabus is more than 10 years old. 10 years for security is wow. So you have to understand that security is a really fast changing ecosystem. And that's something that please do the security test engineer in addition to your former certificate.
You mentioned the fast-paced world that we're living in, a fast-moving environment, which is security testing. What's the next plan? Looking to the future, what is the intention with the syllabi and keeping them updated?
So the update is something that we feel responsible for. So they already planned some smaller updates. That's for sure. This will be done only, I don't know, but at least every year would expect some minor adjustments. Maybe the tool does not exist anymore, or there's some really strange new security attack you should mention. That's something that has to be done. But my number one is to increase the number who is really doing the security certificate. Yeah. So if you reflect the numbers of trainings that were done for the ISTQB security, it's not so much. And what we should do, and Debbie, you are my accelerator for that. Yeah, we should and have to do some advertisement for security in terms of security testing. But that's a difference. Yeah. So it's the whole ISTQB understanding projected on security. And so my understanding and my intention is to increase the number of trainings. In best case, we will have thousands of certified security testers. Then I'm happy.
We're talking about keeping the content updated, and a question that I know I have actually been asked is, who are these people, these anonymous people behind the scenes who are part of the working group, who actually contribute, who are the experts?
So our working group, that's a good point, because it's not my working group. Yeah, I'm just right now here because I had some time in my diary and Debbie asked that. That's great. Nevertheless, the working group consists of really high sophisticated security guys. Some of them are working for security consultancy. Some of them are really working in hospitals and they're responsible for the security of hospitals. Some are working for the automotive industry. So we have a great mix of different knowledge, expertise, and all these persons are working together to write the syllabus. Nevertheless, Debbie, and that's important, that's typical ISTQB. If somebody who is just right now following this video feels, oh, I want to contribute, yeah, I want to be part of this working group, just send me a short email, yeah, and you are more than invited. You don't get any money, but you will get famous. Yeah, and that's that's so important. So it's not a closed shop, yeah, and nobody that doesn't make any money of this. We believe in security. We have a great background in security. Everybody has its own background, and if we come together and if we are working together on an international level, that's a lot of fun. Everybody is learning over and over how this is done in Norway, for example, or in Sweden, and everybody is invited. Just ping me. More than happy to integrate you into our working group.
Thank you, Frank. I think that's a really important point. You know, the ISTQB working groups are volunteers. I'd say passionate volunteers, but also obviously the level of knowledge, understanding and ability to contribute is really important. And I know that a lot of work goes into making sure that we've got a well-rounded working group when we're putting together a syllabus. And also we have a very robust review process. I think that's important to say as well. Frank, I hope that's clear to everybody who has been tuning into this. So the great news is that the new certified tester, security test engineer, is released. It's available. I know that we've got training providers very, very interested in becoming accredited for that. So important that they contact their local boards and find out what that process is. And of course, the exam is available and the syllabus is available for people to review and download. And indeed, the sample exam is available to download. I understand that the ISTQB glossary has been updated, Frank, to reflect the changes?
Yes, but this is already done, I guess, a few weeks before. Yeah, so everything is done.
Excellent. So hopefully we can come back again and talk about the new security test analyst when it's released next year. In the meantime, thank you to you, Frank, for your time today. And thank you to everybody who is watching this, whether you're watching it live or watching it at a later date. If you do have any questions, then please do go to the ISTQB website also and use the contact us, and we'll make sure that any queries go through to Frank and we'll do our best to answer you. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Thank you, everybody.